But I got these Dutch kids are helping me out. They formed the John Sinclair Foundation. Got it recognized as a non-profit organization with the Netherlands government. We can now solicit donations. We can write grant applications for our projects. And then they also have a seed company, and they develop John Sinclair seeds.
Oh, fuck.
And they just create this elaborate display. And the proceeds from the seed sales will go to our Radio Free Amsterdam project. So that's all just happens this winter. It's winter.
We should just jump right to the chase. Do you think revolution's possible anymore?
Well, it's always possible. Revolution is always possible. I mean, it's a matter of people organizing and overthrowing the government. But there's no doing it without struggle and organizational effort and discipline. You can always have a revolution. You just got to do it. You can't do it by having a TV program. You can't have it by making a movie or something. The revolution is people getting together and fighting the government, head on.
So how do you do it?
I don't. I'm retired.
Well, how would I do it?
Well, you'd have to figure out what you wanted to do and who you wanted to do it with, and then figure, you got to, it's an existential experience. We did the best, me and Bob Rudnick and people like that back in the day. We didn't know what we were doing. We were on acid. We had all these great ideas. We couldn't stand the way things were, and so we just tried to do something different. Eventually, you expose yourself to these ideologues who had an idea, like the Black Panther Party. They had a clear-cut idea of how this shit was going to work. So we signed up with them. We thought they had the correct outlook.
So you were saying earlier, just a second ago, you can't do it through artwork, huh?
Well, not a revolution. You can be creative. Double, please. You can be creative and you can make whatever you want, but it's not going to overthrow the government.
Well,
we had a rock and roll band to oppose the government. We went out and we raised it.
And that band was?
MC5.
And don't you think they inspired thousands of people to...
To what?
I don't know. My only option...
There's never been another band that challenged the government and formed a political party. Even they only lasted 6 months.
Yeah, well,
It's a rough job. There's no rewards in it. That's what they've got.
Do you think people are too afraid to get together and try to do anything revolutionary?
I don't think they have the idea that they could. I don't think that they even know what a revolution is. What do they know? The closest thing they know to a revolution is buying something with shape of Vera's face on it to wear around their head or something. That's as close as they get, man. You got the world's greatest living revolutionary 90 minutes from America, Fidel Castro, and they're just trying to throw him out, and have been for 50 years. But he had a revolution. It's not easy to unseat him, because he organized the people to support his ideas, and they won. They drove the bad guys out, and they fought the U.S. to a standstill in that respect for 50 years.
So does art matter?
There's a revolution going on in Venezuela. There's one going on in Nicaragua. There's one going on in Bolivia.
So when you, back in
they're winning without even firing shots because they're brilliant.
Well, how are they winning?
They're organizing people and gaining more votes. They're using the democratic process. And then they're seizing control of the state mechanism and using the oil money to give to poor people, they're doing the opposite of what capitalism does. I'm talking about Hugo Chavez and Evo Morales and, my man in Nicaragua that they expended so much effort driving him out of office before, Daniel Ortega, and now he's the president. They had the whole Iran-Contra thing under Ronald Reagan and Oliver North and all those assholes. That was all directed at unseating his democratically elected government.
Do you think you and the group of folks that you worked with back in the day, do you think you did anything?
Of course we did a lot of stuff. They just don't tell you about it.
What kind of change did you make?
I don't know. We changed everything. You wouldn't be dressed like that today if it wasn't for us. We were the original hippies.
Weed's still illegal.
Yeah, but we're still. I got some right here. You want to smoke one?
Yes.
We could smoke one right here.
I would love that.
Illegal, you know. I mean, that's a different world.
It's their world.
We can live in whatever world we want. We can do what we want. We can do what we want.
After 20 years of trying to get people together, this is me now. And trying to get any kind of scene together, anything. It's been impossible, and
We benefited from the gestalt, the zeitgeist, the spirit of the time undergoing a tremendous change. Maybe what you said is true. Maybe they are creating a condition for change. At least you got a black man, you got a woman that are running for president. They're beating the white guy 82-18 in South Carolina. That's never happened in my lifetime, so I like that.
I feel like that
They're
was
calling
because
for
of you.
change.
That kind of stuff was because of your generation. I think those kids
in a
are.
way, yeah, but I mean, it's the people now that see this guy Obama and say, man, this guy's one. He's a black man, which I don't know. They can say whatever they want about the multiculturalism and the even playing field, but to be a black person in America today is still to be in a bad situation from top to bottom. You know, it's still just as bad as it ever was in that respect. So this guy's showing tremendous courage, I think, and he's got a. But on the other hand, he's not going to give you universal health care. Hillary Clinton's going to give you better health care than him. Neither one of them are saying anything about ending the war tomorrow, or the two wars. I mean, they aren't so far out, but at least they're saying change. The people that have been running this shit since Ronald Reagan, the CIA government that we've had since 1980, including Bill Clinton, I think. Change was the opposite of their method. And Karl Rove's idea was to freeze this into republicanism for the next 100 years, wasn't it? Or was it a millennium? Like Hitler, I don't know
Exactly.
how far they were going to go. But they thought they would have a permanent Republican thing going on. And instead, everybody hates them. They've had their shot. Of course, I don't know. They could always kill the other people off like they've done before. Bobby Kennedy was kind of like a problem to them. They took care of him in a hurry. Martin Luther King was going to march the poor people on Washington and camp on the White House lawn for the summer. They didn't let that happen. So you don't know what they're going to do. These are the foulest, most vicious people on earth. These are the people that bombed hundreds of thousands of Iraqi citizens to death and ruined their country.
Have you ever been afraid to
For
speak?
nothing.
Never? Not the day you got out of prison?
Not when I was in prison.
You never had a fear of speaking your mind?
So that's what I do. It's my job.
Absolutely, but I'm just asking this, and you got a guts and never had a fear of saying something.
Not since I took acid.
Awesome.
I had no fear anymore whatsoever. Because what? So what? What are you going to do? Put me in prison? I've been in prison. Kill me? Bye. You know, I mean, what the fuck? I'm just a little grain of sand in the vastness of the universe. That's what I learned on acid. Live, die. It's just two parts of existence, you know? Of course, a lesson that's reinforced in New Orleans.
No, I was watching this.
Understand dying here.
Yeah, right. I was watching.
People who die are free, and the people who are left behind are the ones who are fucked, you know?
I was watching this documentary, the John Lennon documentary, and the whole concert where he came to play for you.
Yeah.
Now, my impression of that, my thing was, it seemed, maybe I got my facts wrong, but it seemed like they were going to keep you in prison the day before that concert, and literally the day after the concert, they let you out of prison.
Well, it was 3 days, but it was only because it happened on Friday night, the next business day. Yeah.
They were afraid of that concert, weren't they? Or I'm wondering, it just...
They're afraid of us fear. They put me in prison for 2 joints, 9.5 to 10 years.
No, right, but
Does that sound like the act of confident people who think that their thing is going right? I don't think so.
No, but I just seemed like that concert when you guys got everything together and all those people together and those minds, It seems like
a culmination of 2.5 years of organizing, having little concerts with little bands from the neighborhood every week, making $200, giving it to the lawyers, that kind of thing. That was 2.5 years we built up to that.
But with that, they started.
You know who the MC was? Bob Righteous, wasn't it?
That's right. Oh, I know. I've talked to Bob about this concert, but it was so different than talking to Bob. When I saw that documentary, it almost led to me to believe that they really were shitting their pants at that point. Like this movement, whatever you guys got going.
Beatles, man. John Lennon. He's the biggest artist in the world.
Right.
He went against them.
And after that concert, though.
That today?
No, but after that concert,
did you see Sting doing this?
No.
Bono, the guy who's supposed to be so far out, the guy who owns Forbes magazine. Bono. None of these people. Bruce Springwort. Would he do this shit? No, they give some money to some food banks, but I mean.
But after that concert, they sort of shit their pants and
they're millionaires now. See?
Right.
See, none of us were, except Lennon and the Beatles and them. They were millionaires. But everybody else, we were just rock and roll musicians. We didn't have any money.
But when I saw that, they sort of shit their pants. It seemed like, and let you go. And then that's when the slaughter happened. They went after Lennon. They went after the Black Panthers, and they went to break.
They've been after the Black Panthers since '66 when they found it. Huey P. Newton was in jail most of the years of the Black Panther Party, and Bobby Seale was in prison. Erica Huggins, Fred Hampton was murdered. I mean, that all happened from '66 to 472. Bobby Seale, when he came to that rally, not long before that, he had been held in prison in New Haven, Connecticut. Held in jail without bond on a murder charge. Bobby Seale, he was the chairman of the Black Panther Party. So they were on top of that shit. Pretty good. Yeah. Although if you ever read John Wiener's book on FBI files and John Lennon, the one that the movie, there's 2 books that he did. It was basically about the same thing, Lennon's FBI files. They have a letter in there that, what do they call those guys? Special agent in charge had written a memo to Hoover explaining to him who John Lennon was and who the Beatles were. Hoover didn't know. This is in 1970, after 71, after the Beatles had already broken up. The director of the FBI didn't know who the Beatles were, bro. And our culture was underground in the 60s. We were never covered in the papers. Our music was never written. It isn't like today where they own popular culture, where all these millionaires are controlling their lives with their music and their movies and their videos and their ugly shit,
So how did you guys get together? How did you guys get people together back then? How?
We had free concerts.
Free concerts?
Yeah, every week.
And you preached and promoted your politics there?
Our politics were having free concerts. We lived our politics. We didn't have to preach all that much. Our idea was that you lived it. Well, we believed in was having free music where people get together in the field, get some good music, get high, talk, whatever they wanted to do. So we did. We organized it. We fought with the city to get the permit, but after that, all the bands wanted to play.
And so what was the point? There goes the point of my free coffee. So what was the point of free concerts then? Just to celebrate? Just music? Just art?
What was the point?
Yeah.
What do you need?
I don't know. We've done free concerts before. We helped organize Free Fest. I helped with free concerts. It was more about...
The crazy guy was the Free Fest. What's his name?
Wayne Cousy.
I know him.
Wayne's a good guy. But we've done stuff like that. It was
I
more...
wanted to be my president.
No, Wayne?
No. For example. With all due respect.
Wayne is a little crazy.
Yeah, he's nuts.
He makes those great toothpick shifts.
That's what I like about him. He's nuts.
But the thing is with Wayne, with doing that, it was about art, and like I was saying, after all these years, I can only find solace in creating stuff that will inspire.
Art's the bottom line, bro.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Art's the first thing. Creativity, imagination, production.
That's the see, that's the only thing I found solace in is not people, but just doing art or creating stuff. Like you said, you can't do it through TV shows or video, but I think
Well,
maybe
I'm
you
just saying,
can.
I mean, you can create art to these things, but you aren't going to overthrow a government. A revolution is a forceful overthrow of one form of government to institute a different, opposite form.
But maybe through art you can get people to unite, and that's what you guys did. Is that what you're saying? You just said
we were art-based. I'm a poet.
Right.
First off.
So you inspired change. You started with the nucleus was art.
We changed, and then, we proselytized for change among people that we thought were like ourselves, young people.
Well, in the beginning of this conversation, I thought you were saying art wasn't important.
No, I'm not saying it's not important, but it's not going to overthrow a government. You're saying a revolution.
It might get people together, too.
A revolution, as Chairman Mao said, is not a dinner party. It's a struggle between one class and another for control of the social system.
So, when you guys tried to...
If you had a revolution here, you would have to throw out the capitalists. You'd have to assassinate the bankers. You'd have to line the Republicans up against the wall. Wouldn't be nothing nice. You'd have to put Karl Rove's head on a pike,
Capitalism is a sin. It is a cancer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sick.
I'm only starting to understand that.
No, it's sick. This whole thing and their whole way of life is sick. It's all sick. I mean, you can watch TV, you can see people blowing each other's heads off, but you can't see anybody fucking. For example. To me, that's totally upside down.
Indeed.
What's wrong with people fucking? How do they think they got here? Well, they don't know. They're historic, I guess. It's all just so ugly. I just hate it. Fucking hate it.
In America?
Yeah.
And so people on this trip we ask, and they'll say, well, there's no place better than America. And I don't know. I've never traveled, but I say I would assume there's. I'll search
Depends
my
on
life.
What you're looking for?
Freedom.
Yeah, well, I'm not let you have too much of that here.
I took the hint when they keep telling me I'm free. I must not be free.
Yeah. You have to have a drug test if you want to be free here. If you want to get a medical benefit or a job, you have to take a drug test, bro. That's the opposite of freedom to me, because I'm a drug user.
I've never taken a drug test.
I haven't either, but if they take mine, they're always going to be disappointed.
So, but isn't Amsterdam capitalist? Or is it?
Yeah, the Dutch, the traders. They were the ones who ran the slave trade. Well, they weren't slavers. They transported, they had the boats. Yeah, they're a rough bunch. But they have some tolerance. I'm not holding up as an ideal, but I mean, for me, I'm 66 years old. I struggled here all my fucking life. And I was 50, I don't know, 62 years old when I left here. I got evicted. I couldn't pay my rent. I'd been in New Orleans 12 years. I was well known. A very productive person. I was on the radio, most popular disc jockey in New Orleans. I couldn't pay my rent. I said, man, if I'm going to starve here, I could starve there. I wouldn't have to take the fucking police. The police state is what I hate about it most here. The police state. It's just all set up as a police state. And everybody, they got people perfectly trained to go along with it. Can we search your car? Sure. Can you take your shoes off? You want to get on the plane? Take your shoes off. Oh, okay, great. They're report to the ovens at 8. Well, okay, I might be a little down, don't be late. They'll be there.
Now, Back in the day, did your revolution and your movement, did it fall apart? Did it grow up?
It didn't really fall apart. It just ended.
How? How does something with so much passion and so much?
I didn't understand it at the time. I don't really understand now, but it was beyond. You see, it's beyond the consciousness of the people who are doing it. It's really rooted in the realities of everyday life. And after we got rid of, we threw Richard Nixon out of office, and the vice president went to prison. I don't know if he went to prison, but he had felony trials. Yeah. And then they ended the war in Vietnam, and then all of a sudden people were 25 instead of 18, And they were out of college, and then they had to get a job. And then the prices on everything doubled when this oil stuff started around 73, Middle Eastern shit. So all of a sudden, people had to get jobs. And then that meant they had to fit themselves into the workforce. And then they adopted the values of the white-collar working class. And they moved to the suburbs because they wanted their children to have a safe environment to grow up with other white people. And then, they created this new world that didn't exist before, the suburban world. And then everybody went there because it was so cool. I never did get that. You could make me do that with a gun to my head. I'd say fire.
I hear that. I grew up in the suburbs, and I ran away screaming and kicking from that stuff.
Yeah, well, you were lucky. What about the poor people who live their whole lives doing that?
Well, they should scream and kick and get the fuck out and want more. There's nothing there. I don't know if they're poor people or not because they don't want more. You do?
Yeah, I feel sorry for all these people.
Why?
Because they're being manipulated by forces beyond their control that they don't even know that it's happening.
Boy, I feel angry at them that they won't do a fucking thing about it but keep consuming.
That's not their fault, though. It's the people who are manipulating that we want to be angry with.
Well, I'm angry at them too, but I'm also...
They're the enemy.
I'm angry.
These people are victims.
See, I don't know
They're
who to
the
take as...
masses.
Okay, I don't know who to take as the enemy. I look at my...
You got to develop an analysis, and that makes sense for you from top to bottom.
Yeah, I look at my brethren are people that are in my zip code, and I'm sort of angry at them. They won't read, they won't educate themselves, they won't do anything, they don't listen, they don't come to free concerts. What?
Yeah, that's one thing about free concerts now that I've learned over the years. But they don't really want a free concert. They want to pay $125.
That's right. Or it ain't worth nothing to them.
$165 to see an Eagles reunion concert. I don't know how to talk to people like that. I couldn't listen to an Eagles record if you paid me.
And see, that just angers me up. I feel like people have become so complacent and stupid that I don't know if revolution or any kind of political...
Step back and look at the forces that have been allied against them all of their lives. Before they could even talk, they put them in front of the television set.
I got those same forces, though.
Didn't you turn it off, though, at some point?
Yeah.
Well, you were lucky.
Yeah.
Most people don't think they can.
I want more. I don't feel like I'm free.
That's good.
I feel like I'm being treated like a piece of shit. Even I don't care what people say.
That's a good start.
And I want to be treated like a chipmunk. How about that? Start with treating me like an animal, and then we'll start with talking about human rights. But I don't even have the rights of a fucking dog right now.
I'm afraid. Oh! The masquerade.
The masquerade is over. It's over, man. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
take the mask
go.
off.
Bring it on.